Systolic blood pressure readings are normally distributed with a mean of 121 and a standard deviation of 15. Find the percentage of people with blood pressure readings below 148. Okay, so the first thing I notice, it says it's a normal distribution. So I'm going to draw my normal curve. It says the mean is 121, so the 121 goes in the middle. Standard deviation of 15, so I label my tick marks 15 above, 15 below on each side. And we want to know blood pressure readings below 148. Alright, so let's find 148 on this picture. 148 is, about here. Okay, so here's 148. We want blood pressure readings below 148, which means I want this side of the graph. Now, the one problem we have here is that the only way I know how to find the area under a normal curve is to go to my table. But in my table, I need z-scores. This is not a z-score, this is a data point. But we remember how to find z-scores. To find the z-score for 148, you take 148 minus your mean, and you divide by your standard deviation. 148 minus 121 is 27. Divided by 15 is 1.8. Now I have a z-score that I can look up in my table. Okay, so I'm going to go to my table in my book and I'm going to look up 1.8. And remember that the table gives you the area to the left of your data point. So when I look up 1.8, it says 0.9641. Well, we wanted below 148, which is the same thing as saying as below z equals 1.8. And in percentage, that would be 96.41%. Alright, so same problem, again, same picture. You don't have to label everything every single time, but I do like always putting my mean in there of 121. And this time, it's asking me for the percentage of people with blood pressure readings above 133. Well, 133 is at about right there. We don't have to be too exact. There's 133. Above 133 would be to the right because that's bigger, above. Okay, again we have 133. Can't look that up in my table because that's a data point, but I can convert that to a z-score. And to find the z-score, you take your data point minus your mean and divide by your standard deviation. 133 minus 121 is 12. Divided by 15 is 0.8. So when I look up 0.8 in my table, remember it gives me area to the left of my data point. Okay? So when I get the number 0.7881, that's area to the left of z equals 0.8, which is this side. But that's not the side I want. I want the side above. So here I'm going to remember the rule that the whole normal curve altogether has an area of 1, otherwise 100%. So if I want to find this side, I just have to subtract 1 minus 0.7881, and I get 0.2119, which in percent is 21.19%. Same problem. Find the percentage of people with blood pressure readings above 100. Okay, well 100's about in here. Above 100. Okay, above 100 would be greater than 100, which is to the right. Again, if I want to find area, I need a z-score to use my table. So I'm going to find my z-score for 100. And remember, we do that by taking your data minus your mean over your standard deviation. 100 minus 121 is negative 21. divided by 15 is negative 1.4. So now I have a z-score. I'm going to look up that z-score of negative 1.4. And I'm going to recall that the table gives me area to the left. Okay, and the number I find is 0.0808. But that's the wrong side. I want the other side. And hopefully by now you're catching on. When we want the other side, subtract it from the whole, which is 1. 1 minus 0.0808, which is 0.9192, or in percent, 91.92%. Same problem. Find the percentage of people with blood pressure readings between 145, which is about right here, and 157, which we could say is right here. And I want between, so I'm looking for this area in here. Okay. All right, I need to find an area. I have to use my table, which means I need z-scores. Okay, so let's find the z-score for 145. Take your data point minus the mean divided by the standard deviation. 145 minus 121 is 24 over 15, which is 1.6. Now let's find the z-score for 157. So data minus mean over standard deviation. 157 minus 121 is 36 over 15, which is 2.4. Okay. All right, so the first thing I'm going to look up is one of these z-values. Doesn't matter which one you look up first. I'm going to look up the 2.4 first, which corresponds to the 157. And remember that the number I find in the table is the area to the left of this point. So when I look that up, I get 0.9918. And when I look up 1.6, which is the z-value for 145, again, remember we're finding area to the left, and I find it to be 0.9452. Okay, well, if we need this little piece, do you agree we're going to subtract? Okay, so we're going to have 0.9918 minus 0.9452, which is 0.0466, or in percentage, 4.66%. Find the percentage of people with blood pressure readings between 109, it's about here, and 133, which is about here. And again, I want between. All right. Hopefully by now learning has occurred. First thing I have to do is convert both of these to a z-score. So 109 minus the mean divided by the standard deviation. 109 minus 121 is negative 12. Over 15 is negative 0.8. And for the other point, 133 minus the mean divided by the standard deviation. 133 minus 121 is 12 over 15, which is positive 0.8. Okay, look up these z-scores in your table. I'm going to start by looking up 0.8, and remember this gives you area to the left, which is 0.7881. Then I'm going to look up negative 0.8, and the area to the left is 0.2119. And if you see between these two, I'm going to have to subtract to find my answer. So 0.7881 minus 0.2119, which is 0.5762, and in percent, 57.62%.